Hi everyone, Prince P2 is my name, and I'm going to be speaking to you today on the topic conducting a sensitive analysis as a tool for capital budgeting. I have my table of content, so these are some of the things that I'm going to be discussing in this presentation. What is sensitive analysis? Sensitive analysis methods. Advantage of sensitive analysis, disadvantages of sensitive analysis, how can a project risk be incorporated into a capital budgeting analysis, methods of incorporating project risks into capital budgeting decision, and finally I have my conclusion. So this is my table of content. These are all of the things I'm going to be discussing in today's presentation. What is sensitive analysis? Sensitive analysis is a vital tool applied in corporate finance and business analysis to understand how the variability in key input variables influences the performance of its business. By methodically adjusting the inputs and observing the ensuing effect on output, analysts can discern which variables have the most profound impact on the bottom line. This enables companies to concentrate on managing the most sensitive factor to enhance profitability and mitigate risks. Also, sensitivity analysis measures how susceptible the output of a model is to alteration in the value of the inputs. It aids in identifying which input variable drive most of the variation in the output. For example, in a financial model measuring a company profitability, key inputs typically encompass sales growth, cost of goods sold, operating expenses, interest rate, inflation, and tax rate. By increasing and decreasing each of these inputs and observing the impact on profit, you can determine which inputs are most sensitive, where minor issues take place. Sensitive analysis method. There are multiples or several methods and techniques for performing sensitive analysis, which include one at a time, which is simply called the OAT analysis. What it does is that it alters one input variable while maintaining others constant. This method is straightforward but can miss interactive effect between variables. Differential analysis. Calculate the rate of change in output based on many changes in output, thereby allowing ranking or sensitivity. Scenario analysis is the third method or technique used for performing sensitive analysis. So what the scenario analysis does is that it adjusts multiple inputs simultaneously to model various scenarios like worst case and best case, which offers a spectrum of possible outcomes. And then also we got Monte Carlo simulation. What it does is that it utilizes repeated random sampling of input variables to generate a probability distribution of potential outcomes. This is especially useful for model incorporating uncertainties. And lastly, we have the tornado diagrams. Graphically illustrate the sensitivity ranking of input. The wider the bar, the larger the impact. Advantages of sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis has several advantages, some of which include identifies pivotal value drivers upon which to focus management attention. Another advantages of sensitive analysis is it helps in quantifying the risk in a project or forecast. It also guides decision and mitigate risks. It explores scenario and formulates contingency plans. It enhances comprehension of the nature of the key success variable. Static analysis might overlook dynamic interaction. And next, we're going to go to the disadvantages of sensitivity analysis. Some of the disadvantages of sensitivity analysis can be time consuming when testing numerous scenarios, necessitates resources and specialized skills, does not optimize input. It is limited to model input even if the model itself is incomplete or inaccurate. And next we're going to talk about how can a project risk be incorporated into a capital budgeting analysis. Capital budgeting may be defined as the decision-making process by which a firm evaluates the purchase of major fixed assets, including building, machinery, and equipment. It is a step-by-step process that businesses use to determine the merit of an investment project. It is a company formal procedure used for evaluating expenditure or investment that are important in amount. Next is the method of incorporating project risk into capital budgeting decision. So there are several methods widely used for incorporating the project risk into capital budgeting, but there are two common ones. So the first one is the certainty equivalent method. It is the first method in which the expected cash flows are adjusted to reflect projected risk. Risky cash flow are scaled down, and the riskier the flow, the lower their certainty equivalent values. It is a method in which uncertain cash flows are converted into certain cash flow by multiplying with the probability of occurrence, such as cash flows. It is the risk-free cash flow which an investor considers equivalent to a higher but risky expected cash flow. And secondly, we have the risk-adjusted discount rate method. It is the second common method used in incorporating project risk into capital budgeting. So what it does is that it is the second procedure or method in which differential project risk is dealt with by changing the discount rate average which projects are discounted at the firm corporate cost of capital. Above average risk projects are discounted at a higher cost of capital, and below average risk projects are discounted at a rate below the corporate cost of capital. The risk adjusted discount rate represents required periodical return by the investor for pooling funds to the specific property. The concept reflects the relationship between risk and return. So, conclusion: sensitivity analysis is an essential financial modeling methodical approach in the sphere of corporate finance. By discerning which inputs have the most substantial impact on outcomes, companies can hone their efforts on the values drivers that matter most. Performing sensitivity analysis leads to better informed data-driven decisions, providing a structural approach toward understanding financial variability and risks. Thank you very much. This concludes my presentation. This is my reference page.